Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Um, we have a few things to talk about today, okay? And I'm going to put some videos in to back up what I'm talking about, okay? A lot of you have been asking for links to the videos that I'm showing. Unless you have a Twitter or /X account, whatever you want to call it. Um, you know, that's how you'll be able to view them, okay? Yes, I will leave the links, okay? But like I said, you'll have to have a Twitter account in order to view them. Um, so this first thing, um, North Carolina, okay? The Hurricane Helene victims. They had someone come in, okay? Most likely the Amish, and they built 100 of those tiny homes, all right, as a donation. And the victims, they were living in them, and the county then comes in and says, well, they don't pass inspection. And they kick the families out of these tiny homes. So now there's 75 of these homes, of these tiny homes, sitting there. And now they can't live in them. You can't do anything with them. And this is happening in Burnsville, North Carolina. And what you're going to see in this video is a camp director that reveals that the county shut down these 100 newly built, newly donated tiny homes that are intended for those in need. Now, I'm sure you've heard and you've seen these tiny homes before, okay? These homes are very much wanted, not just by people who are a victim of hurricanes or whatever the case may be. These homes, if you were to try and build one for yourself, you know, to live in, because Sean and I actually looked into it, and for one that is like 300 square foot, okay, it's got what they call two-story, but it's the second story is a loft, okay, that there's a like a ladder that goes up to the loft, and but the only thing that's up there is a bed, okay, a mattress, really, if you will. And it's got a compost toilet, okay, it's got a little mini tiny kitchen, okay, and the stove is like 2 burners, okay, it's got a the kitchen sink is smaller than what a bathroom sink would be, okay. um, Very nice, very doable in my opinion, okay, but because of our crew, okay, it's not doable for right now. But if it were just me and Sean, I would so totally be up on that. I really truly would. And to build one, you're looking at about 50 grand. Okay. But I mean, it's totally like solar, off grid perfection, right on. And you mean to tell me that the county goes in and says, yeah, no, you can't live in them because they're not going to pass inspection? I'm sorry, but these homes literally cost anywhere from 20 to 50,000 just to build one. But they're not going to pass inspection? Nay, nay. Watch.
That and all these groups are coming down here, and it's a nice thought.
Yeah.
And they're building these tiny homes that don't have to be inspected, so it's a shed with an outlet.
They do have to be inspected. We're finding that out. And in fact, we had a person to donate 100 of them down in Barnesville, and we got 25 of them put up, you know, for people to live in, and which was better than the dirt.
Well, of course.
And so they were living in them, and the county comes in and says they won't pass inspection. You can't do it.
Yeah.
So we got 75 of them sitting down there that won't, you know, that we can't do nothing with.
And we know I know like volunteers that have been coming in like every other week, every weekend, things like that are coming back, and they're bringing all this material, all these tools. They've got like already kits pretty much cut out.
Yeah.
To just put them together real quick, and I'm like, I've tried to tell them like people are not going to be able to live in these, and it's like maybe one person could live in there.
Yeah.
and it's not
still
living.
better than a tent. I mean,
It is better than a tent for sure.
Now, this second video, all right, everyone should be aware of this, and I mean everyone, okay? This administration that we are still under the reign of just said that Ukraine can keep, and this amount of money is so absurd. And it's not just millions, it's billions. Okay, 4.6, okay, in taxpayer money that they originally were supposed to pay back. A loan, if you will. Okay. But like I said, North Carolina residents, they're having their tiny homes that were not just built but donated to them, ripped out from underneath of them. And they're living in tents, okay? But they not just lost everything, but they also have to pay back the measly $750 that they received. Make that make sense. Or is it just because they hate us this much that we have to pay back the measly $750? Because the Oversight Committee has revealed that FEMA is giving, okay, crossers over $10,000 monthly, mind you, while offering hurricane victims $750. Even if you were to get out a calculator, whether it's on your phone or whatever, your Casio calculator that you have, that you bought while you were still in high school, because yes, I still have mine, you know, it's just not adding up. Okay? It's just not adding up. Because you know what also isn't adding up? I have a lot of family members, friends as well, that are literally 100% disabled. Okay? 100% disabled. And that includes my nephew who lives with us, who has permanent, not just temporal, okay, this is permanent brain damage, okay? He was receiving, was, past tense, food stamps. They ripped that away from him, okay? Kid can't hold a job for more than a month because as soon as his employer finds out that he has these disabilities, they say bye-bye. Okay. So he can't do much for himself. Now he can't even feed himself. If he wasn't living here with us, he'd be up shit's creek with no paddles. Okay. But yet these crossers are getting how much money again? Just saying.
Is a program that was directed by Congress for FEMA to administer. Yes.
Right, and so these are all federal taxpayer dollars, and so if we need taxpayer dollars in a higher priority area, it would make sense to take funds from a lower priority area. What I'm really struggling with is, as I understand, is that in North Carolina, for example, where I visited, you can have a flood or disaster victim that can get a check for $750. Yet when I go through and I look at the programs and resources that are available to a citizen of a different country that came illegally into the United States, under the FEMA administered program using nonprofits, you could be eligible for housing, for food, for transportation, for healthcare costs, and others. I was able to come, looking at the very documents that these nonprofits were using, I was able to get to a figure in excess of $10,000 for an individual. Let me make note again. That is a citizen of a foreign country. How would I explain to a taxpayer that a taxpayer, a citizen of the United States, is eligible for $750, yet a citizen of a foreign country under your agency is still eligible for assistance of $10,000? How would I explain that to somebody?
Congressman, the resources that are available to people impacted by disasters are a variety of resources, and that $750 payment is just to cover those immediate needs. They are eligible for $42,500 in fiscal year 24 for housing assistance, and $42,500 for other needs assistance. Those are the programs that are available to people that were impacted by disasters.
So it's very clear. It's very clear that today, and I just visited North Carolina just a few weeks ago. It's very clear to me that there are folks that are in need right now. The disparity that exists in that a citizen of a foreign country that broke the law and came here illegally is they can get a plane ticket paid for, they can get a hotel room paid for. I think 200 and something bucks a night, if I remember right, in some of the areas of maybe around Midland, Texas, somewhere around there. Again, healthcare, food, clothing. We have citizens of our own country that I engaged in North Carolina weeks and weeks after the disaster that have some of those same needs. This is ridiculous. It really is. And I understand that all of these decisions aren't yours, but Administrator, you understand the ridiculousness of this situation, that we're not helping our own citizens, yet we're out there using our own taxpayer dollars when we have a debt right now, $35 trillion as a nation, and we're helping out citizens of other countries when we're not even meeting the fundamental needs of our own citizens.
Now, on to this. A former Putin advisor has a very stark warning for France, Britain, and for us in the U.S. I want you to take a listen. Now, you could probably sit here and say, well, you know, I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. Hey, listen, cool, you know. But just listen, okay? Just listen, because you just never know when something's going to pop off, especially with what not we, the people, what they just gave them to do what to send over in the air to Russia. Okay, just listen.
All of yours will be killed probably end of this year, and your families will be killed and so on.
Chessboard of the war in Ukraine, a pawn has become a queen as Joe Biden says he'll let the country use American long-range missiles on targets inside Russia. Let's hear the view from Moscow and talk to Sergei Markov, Russian political scientist, former advisor to Vladimir Putin. Good morning to you.
I don't know. You really believe this morning is good? I think it's very bad, because little France, Britain, and United States made very big step, even jump to the nuclear war and catastrophic destroying of the all human mind. All of yours will be killed probably end of this year, and your families will be killed and so on. And it's
hang on. So are you saying that the Ukraine? Yes, hang on. Hang on. So I just want to be clear, Sergey, what you're saying there. The decision by Biden to authorize long-range weapons for Ukraine will lead to nuclear war.
Exactly.
What, Putin's going to press the button.
There, you know, the button. Look at the history of the World War I. Nobody wanted the war, but war happened. It what became the absolutely catastrophe. That's exactly what could happen now. Nobody, of course, wants to have a nuclear war. But if you go the escalation steps, this escalation of the will move you to this direction.
Now here's something for you. In less than 40 years, okay, I'm 48, I'm going to be 49 in January, okay? So in less than 40 years, we've come from a single wage being enough to buy a home, buy a car, and support your family, right? I know a lot of you are older than me, so you can actually remember doing this, right? Dad goes to work, mom stays home, raises the kids, takes care of the house, right on? To the majority of young people today, like my son's age, 26, right? My nephew's age, 26, my daughter's age, 31, okay? To the majority of young people today faced with spending a huge portion of their life earnings on being rent cattle, because that's what they are. They're not looked at as people anymore. They're rent cattle, to avoid homelessness, okay, and paying the government another 30% plus to keep themselves out of prison, all the while watching the third world stroll in, get everything for free on their taxes, and if any of them notice and or complain, they will be branded a hateful, disgusting, yada yada yada, blase squaze. Now, you guys know my son, he works for FedEx. My daughter-in-law, she just started working for FedEx as well. Now, with both of their incomes combined, yeah, sure, great, grand, fantastic. You know, maybe they'll be able to buy a home soon. But with the amount that gets taken out, you know, that's not going to be going towards their Social Security anymore or anything like that. It's going to them. The ones that are coming here, because we have to pay them $10,000 a month for cash assistance, food stamps, which are being taken away from our Americans, our disabled Americans. It's given to them now. You know, Medicaid, Medicare for them. What's going to be left over for when my kids get to be my age, my husband's age? Because I'm going to be 49. Sean just turned 50. What's going to be left for them? What's going to be left for my grandchildren? You know, does anybody actually sit back and think about that? You know, I know you've heard the horror stories of people who actually work in these grocery stores, and they see that the crossers come in with the food stamp cards, and they actually look at the receipts and they say, well, how the hell do you have a $15,000 leftover of your EBT food stamps? How do you have that left over when your average American gets maybe $150, $200 a month if they're lucky? And you have how much on your food stamp card? You know? So, you know, it's just, it blows the mind. It makes you think. And you're sitting here going, I've got me, my husband, children. You know, we both work, but we're still struggling. We're both trying to make decision on, do we pay that bill and feed us? Or do we go to mom and dad's and ask them to help this month? You know what I'm saying? Things have got to change here. Here's one last video.
This lead pencil. There's not a single person in the world who could make this pencil. Remarkable statement? Not at all. The wood from which it's made, for all I know, comes from a tree that was cut down in the state of Washington. To cut down that tree, it took a saw. To make the saw, it took steel. To make the steel, it took iron ore. This black center, we call it lead, but it's really graphite, compressed graphite. I'm not sure where it comes from, but I think it comes from some mines in South America. This red top up here, the eraser, bit of rubber, probably comes from Malaya, where the rubber tree isn't even native. It was imported from South America by some businessmen with the help of the British government. This brass ferrule, I haven't the slightest idea where it came from, or the yellow paint, or the paint that made the black lines, or the glue that holds it together. Literally thousands of people cooperated to make this pencil. People who don't speak the same language, who practice different religions, who might hate one another if they ever met. When you go down to the store and buy this pencil, you are in effect trading a few minutes of your time for a few seconds of the time of all those thousands of people. What brought them together and induced them to cooperate to make this pencil? There was no commissar sending out orders from some central office. It was the magic of the price system, the impersonal operation of prices, that brought them together and got them to cooperate to make this pencil so that you could have it for a trifling sum. That is why the operation of the free market is so essential, not only to promote productive efficiency, but even more to foster harmony and peace among the peoples of the world.